So in the last video I built a foundry, and so in this video what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go around, gather a bunch of resources, and then just stockpile them up into the foundry, and then yeah, we'll see what I can do from there, but hopefully we can build up this zone into like a nice metal base where it's a little bit more secure. So I'll go ahead and get started on the mining. So since I'm on a horse, it's going to be a lot easier to mine. What I really want to do is gather some wood. I'm going to gather a ton of wood first and just unload it into the foundry, because as it smelts down, so the orange numbers are the smelting numbers and then the green numbers are the available. So when you insert ores, it'll originally be smelting, and then over time as it smelts it'll become available, and you can, once it's green, you can use it to smelt the bars. So and then the coal and the wood is what is used to actually fuel it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a bunch of trees, use all the wood to fuel it. So that way in the future I don't need to keep cutting a bunch of trees to do that. So I would recommend just doing if you're going to be doing this, it's a little bit of a grind, but you kind of want to do it in chunks. If you just go out and kind of harvest stuff here and there as you need it, it can take a lot longer. If you just kind of do a trip and get everything you need at once, it can be a lot quicker. So I'll try to do it that way, just to save time. But yeah, a full inventory of logs can be quite a bit of wood. I'm not quite sure how much, but it goes off of the durability. So gotta try to keep in mind where your base is at so you can make this a little bit quicker. But let's see what I get. I don't really have a full inventory, but yeah, so just a little, like maybe 60% of my inventory, and then I got 288 wood. So it goes off of the durability of the log. So if you get these large logs, it's actually a lot better. So some people only cut the large trees, and that way they get more out of their trips. But I kind of just cut whatever is closest and then just head back. It seems a little bit quicker, but everybody has their own strategies. It's kind of good to just learn as you go and start to figure out things that work quicker for you and just use those to become more consistent. So I just find it easiest to try to fill up an inventory and then remove all the sticks, and then try to stick to the larger trees if possible. I kind of go by fruit trees a little bit just because they fill up your inventory quicker by giving you the fruit. So I do kind of avoid the fruit trees. I don't know why it's about to, by habit, go into that base, but forgot we started up a new base over here. So actually, one major thing about this right now is just a second ago, there's nobody online right now, luckily, but there have been a few people on and off. And so it's kind of late right now, so I kind of picked a good time to try to get on here and not really get killed during my video. So, but if somebody else does get on, they can actually just come up here. You can't lock your foundry, so that's another reason I was kind of saying it's important to keep it away from walls, because if there was a way to peek in, they could just take everything out of the foundry, since you can't lock it. So yeah, I need to put up walls as soon as possible though, but since nobody else is online, it should be fine for now. So yeah, now that I have a bunch of wood, 600 wood is quite a bit, so that'll last me a while at least. So what I want to do now is I'm going to make like one mining trip to get small ores, and then I'm going to craft a bunch of tools, a bunch of pickaxes specifically, in order to go mine a whole bunch. So let me get some flint first. I guess I'll go ahead and mine that. So I'm really only going to pick up, I guess I'll do the aluminum as well, but if you just do the small ores, that way we can get a bunch of pickaxes. Okay, so I got my flint. I'm going to cut down a tree, make a fire, smelt some of these small ore. That way I can have plenty of pickaxes and I won't be running out of pickaxes. So whenever you go on these mining trips, you should just have a bunch of pickaxes lined up, because they do break as you use them. So the stronger the metal, the better. Like this titanium one lasts quite a long time. I've already gotten 21 uses out of it, and it still has 3 more. So whereas I think iron will last 15, and aluminum only lasts 11. So it's better to have the stronger metals. It'll last a little bit longer and it'll make your trips last longer. So without using up as much inventory space. So all right, I guess I'll chop down a tree real quick, get a fire going, smelt these down. All right, and then I'll go craft a bunch of pickaxes. And I'm gonna bank some of these axes. I only really need one axe on me. Let's see, which one have I been using? Okay, I've been using these two. I'll just go ahead and keep those two on me and just bank these. Yeah, I'll keep these. It's always good to keep a couple tools on you just because when you break them, it's pretty annoying having to come back and restock. So I'll keep a toolbar kind of full of pickaxes. Since the ore you can't really, there's no like functional use for it other than just smelting it down into bars. So it just goes into your inventory. So I'm going to go ahead and load up my inventory and then craft up these pickaxes. Alright, so now I have a ton of pickaxes. So I should be good for a while of just mining and then returning to my foundry. So a lot of people have different strategies with the mining. Some people like to do just the large boulders. Some people like to do medium and large and just skip over the small ones. Me, I just mine everything. So I'm just going to go around. I try to keep it close and just real quick. One advantage to mining everything is you have a higher chance of getting sulfur, so which is probably the most valuable thing in the game. If you have more sulfur, you can raid people and get more materials anyway. So I'm actually starving right now, so that's not good. My health is going down, so I need to eat. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a bunch of fruit and vegetables wherever I see it so I can get my hunger back up to 100. Kind of sneaks up on you. You'll be busy doing stuff. As you perform different acts like mining and cutting trees and stuff, you do lose your hunger and thirst a lot quickly. So if you're more active, if you're running around the map and fighting people and doing a whole bunch of stuff, like, you know, it can really catch up to you. So I had refilled it not too long ago and it's already back down. So but luckily it's not super hard. Whenever nobody else is online, it's not super hard to you know, regain all of your hunger. So alright, so now I'm good with that. So let me go back over here and I'll start my mining again. So I just try to stick kind of closely to the base so that way the trips can be shorter. Just make it back to the foundry as soon as possible. Just mine these as we go. The horse helps a lot. I mean, if you don't have a horse, I would recommend before doing these types of trips, definitely get a horse. They're a little bit rare, and as other people are online, you know, people compete over them, but usually there's at least a few, so it would definitely be worth getting a horse. Alright, so now my inventory is pretty full of ore, so I'm going to go ahead and head back to my foundry. And the cool thing is I can just do these trips, and usually if you had chests, you would just put the ore in the chest and it would just build up, but with this, I can just click on it, it adds it to the foundry, and as you can see, the numbers are just jumping up, so it's currently smelting. Whenever I come back, it should have at least some of these smelted up, so you can see just a little bit smelted right there. Over time, it'll do 15 at a time, and it takes away some of the wood, so yeah, I'll go do another trip. And then after a while, it'll start to, you know, accumulate. You'll have a bunch of ores stacked up, and then you can start to use those materials for everything that you need without having to make fires and smelt everything down. So it's pretty useful. Most people, they don't even keep ores in their chests at all. They just, any sort of value they have, they'll just unload into their foundry. And then there's a bunch of other cool things too with the foundry, where like for example, if you have like a tool that's about to break and you don't want to have it in your inventory anymore or whatever, and you still like, there's still some value in it, you can actually smelt it down and get, you know, a percentage of the value that it, you know, did have. And so like, let's say if you raided somebody's base and they had a chest full of tools, you could bring it over to your foundry and then smelt it down. You're not going to get the pure, like the full durability, but you'll get a large chunk of it. There's a small tax on melting down tools, and then also bars. You can melt down bars. You can melt down pretty much anything made of metal. You can melt it back down into whatever metal type it is. So see, this is nice. Getting a large boulder, that's going to be huge, because the amount that it adds to the foundry, it's all based on durabilities. So if the small iron ore has 15, the large one's going to have 45. The medium's going to have 30. and then when you add it to the foundry, that's how much is actually going to be added. And then whenever you go to smelt that bar, that's how much is required to smelt it. So